Just doesn't like lives. Okay, I'm live on YouTube. That's where I save all of my lives. Whenever I'm doing a live, I'm on YouTube the whole time. And I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok while I'm on YouTube. And I got to get my timer because I haven't got that much time. So I've got to make sure I remember when to hop from one to the other. So where are you from? Oh, thanks, Alex. I'm glad. I'm glad they're helping my videos. Ohio. Excellent. Ohio. St. Catharines, Ontario. I don't think I've ever been there. London, Ontario. I've got some Canadians. It's usually mostly Americans. I get a lot of my clients are Australian and a lot of English-speaking countries, but also all over the world I have clients. It's fascinating. Georgia. Hello, Regina. Nova Scotia. Boy, I got a lot of Canadians today. Why is that? Why so many Canadians today? I wonder why that would be. Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, okay, I got enough people. Alliston, Ontario. Holy moly, there's a lot of Canadians here. Wow, it's usually mostly Americans here. I'm Canadian, and I'm also Australian. New Jersey. Hello, Esther. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'll get going with your questions. And I always like to throw other stuff in. I usually go off on a rant. I can't help myself. Anyway, my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can look into our podcast. It's called Oh Howdy from Texas, Jamie. That's not what it's called. Sorry, my podcast. I'm just reading the Howdy. Anyway, my podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. Funny how I segued that way. Dopey. I get sidetracked all the time. And it's on all the platforms, but also we save all of the podcasts and all the lives are on YouTube if you're interested in watching us. My daughter and I do it together. Florida. Hi, Bess. Okay, so what is your advice for kids who are out of toddler bed but are too big to sleep trains? Kylie. They're out of the toddler bed. They're too big to sleep train. I don't know what you mean by sleep training because I don't use that term, so I don't know what you mean. So what do you do when they're out of the toddler bed? I don't quite understand that. Honestly, don't know what you mean. So, but I do have Bedtime Battles course. It's in both of my big courses. Like I have boot camp courses. There's one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. The Bedtime Battles little mini course is in both of those. It's the only place you can get it. So if you're interested, it's a whole, but I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. That course requires kids to be able to get out of bed. Like they should be able to get out of bed and start walking down the hall. Every time I drink one of these drinks, the first sip dribbles down my face. I don't know why that is. Okay. I just discovered Gatorade, those kind of drinks. I've never had one in my whole life, if you can believe it. My daughter introduced me to them a couple of weeks ago. I'd never had one. I don't like juice or anything, though. I don't drink energy drinks or anything. So, yeah, they're really good, though. Okay. So, yeah, that was kind of unsuccessful there with that sleep one, just because I wasn't exactly sure what you meant. Okay, Jeanette Fox in Singapore, welcome. Michigan, USA, excellent. Hi, Elise. Hello. Okay, Laura Elizabeth says, when 4-year-old tells me about her day at preschool and says something like, so-and-so hit me, so I pushed her back, do I listen to understand or do I take action and give consequence for breaking the no hitting others rule? I don't know why she's telling you that, like why she hit me, I hit her. I would just ask the teacher. I would say, what happened at school? She said that there was some hitting going on. Ask the teacher. Maybe she's doing it just to get attention. I don't know. There could be a lot of different reasons why she's saying that, but I wouldn't go right into disciplining. I would just ask the teacher, see what's going on. Yeah, that's why I have my Gatorade, because it's for my daughter said I get dehydrated. So that's why. And also I'm supposed to put salt on it. I don't like salt or I don't like sugar either. So she goes, Mom, salt your water even, just salt everything. Because did you know that if you just drink a lot of water and you never have salt, it just goes right through you, like you don't get the benefits of it? I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I don't know why I'm talking about that. It's not my lane. Why am I discussing that? Okay. Oh, he's a big kid. Oh, well, so I don't know what the is though. Like is he having a hard time going to bed? Like, I don't understand the problem. So he's just going from one bed to the other, but what's your question? So that's what I meant. North Carolina. Hello, Sharon. Tennessee from Jan. Oh, thanks. I appreciate your support. Okay, what do you do about them going back to an activity? For instance, child is 2. He hits on the trampoline, so I remove him from the fun and take him with me to do something boring. Good for you. After we're done, can he go back on the trampoline? Yeah. So you just keep doing that, but you extend the amount of time you take him away for. So if he just keeps doing it, and if it just gets out of hand, just don't put him on for the rest of that day. But you want to give them a chance to be good. So you don't just want to withhold the activity. You want to put them back into it and give them an opportunity to be good. But he's only 2. You might just have to cut it out for the day. You have to kind of make that call. Brittany from Minnesota. Hi, Brittany. How to get a 7-year-old and a 20-month-old to sleep during bedtime, and a 20-month-old sleep. How to get 7-year-old and a 20-month-old sleep during bedtime to sleep. Well, I don't know about the 20-month-old. They have to be out of a crib. They have to be able to get up. The idea is that you have a bedtime routine, and you say, once you put them to bed, you say, okay, that's it. Don't get out of bed. This is the 20-month-old might be a little bit too young for that. They have to be 2 to really understand this. So, and I've got another method for that, but I'll just go through the 2 and above one, 24-month-old and above. Anyway, so you say, okay, so you stay in bed, and then every time they get out of bed, the first time you say, I said it's bedtime, stay in bed. The second time they get out of bed, you say one word, bedtime. Every time after that, you walk slow and you don't look at them or talk to them. You just keep putting them back to bed, putting them back to bed. The idea is they're going to learn there's no point in getting up because I'm just going to be put back to bed. No one's talking to me. No one's looking at me. So in other words, you take charge of bedtime. It's my most successful thing of everything I teach on a regular basis is bedtime battles. I've got a client right now that sort of is slipping through the cracks with this one, but we've sort of ascertained why. But if you follow through with this, it usually works really well. Idaho Falls, Idaho. Hi, Debbie. By the way, I often say this, if you are a client, I'll ignore you on here because I don't want to identify clients. So, you know what I mean? But some people say, well, you didn't say hi to me. Well, I'm not going to identify you as a client. Okay, I've been trying to give my 3-year-old consequences for hitting her brother, but she literally doesn't care if I take anything away from her. I feel lost. Would there be anything else I could do besides take everything away? It's on the behavior board, and the behavior board is completely free. And I think no hitting. I don't know what I put on there. I can't remember. I think the rule for the child is no hitting is my example on there. And then the consequence is that their younger sibling that they hit gets to play with their favorite toy for a period of time with you, and they're excluded. They usually care about that. Also, why are they hitting? Is the other kid antagonizing them? You've got to ascertain who's the criminal here, who's the victim, and who's the perpetrator. You got to figure that out. Maybe the little one's driving them nuts, and it's the only thing they can do to get them away from them. So you got to figure that out too. Oh, thanks, Annabelle. I'm glad to hear that. I always say I give you the advice, but you're the ones who do the work. So good for you. Hello from Australia. Okay. This is Rachel. Advice for super sassy 10-year-old who talks back a lot. That's on you. It's a sign that you're not a leader yet, because their behavior is just a direct result of your parenting, and attitude is a direct result of their lack of respect for you. So you've got to work for it. You've got to earn it. You got to set yourself up as a leader. Check out my free behavior board. It's the training wheels with all this. If you want to go further, check out the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. It teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. And it's not, the attitude is the very last thing to go away. It's just a tell. It just means that you haven't earned their respect. You got to work for that. If they're acting out and being cheeky, that's on you. You got to take responsibility for that. When I was working with kids, and if they acted out under my care, I always thought, what am I missing here? They weren't even my kids. I might have only seen them for an hour a week. And I always thought, what am I missing here? It was always me, because I'm a leader. So that's what leaders do. You take full responsibility. Remember, we're not fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching parents here. Struggling to teach no grabbing. Can you maybe give an example of the action I would do? 27-month-old girl and 8-month. Well, you can't discipline an 8-month-old child, baby. So you just say no every time they grab. You say no, and then you redirect them, because if she's 27-month-old, I don't know what the 8-month-old is. The 8-month-old crawling and grabbing the 27-month-old stuff all the time. You have to give that 27-month-old some area that's just for them. Usually it's up on top of a bed or something where they can play. If they really want to play on their own, they have to go to that special place. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting right beside each other, just grabbing back and forth. So you got to learn how to manage the situation too. So give that older one a say, if you don't want to be bothered, you have to sit up on your bed and play with this. And they don't like doing that because they don't want to go off on their own and do that anyway. So, yeah. Well, Carrie, you didn't put an age down. So, and you have to put the whole question plus the age, or else I'll miss it. Because different answer for different ages. Do these rules apply to ASD? No. Autism is different. It's more of a special needs. I put it in that category. That would be one-on-one coaching with me. That's autism spectrum disorder, if you're not aware of that. Okay. You got to put the ages down. There's a couple of questions I just had to flip through. I would have loved to have answered them, but I need the ages. So, and don't just put the age. If you're going to, you have to put the whole question again, plus the age, because otherwise I'm not going to know what question you're referring to. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read out, this is just sort of something for you to think about, is parents often want me to help them fix their kids. And I always say they're just victims of you. Like, it's not their fault that they're acting out. You got to work on yourself. It's all about you. You lead, they will follow. Now, I've worked with hundreds of kids and teenagers, and I never got an easy one. I was a behavioral mentor, so I always got the challenging ones. I managed to get respect with all of them. Did I just luck out and get them on a good day? Or was it me? You see, you got to, not everyone thinks this way, but a lot of parents think, well, I got to fix my kid. There's something wrong with them. No, you're just not a leader. So think about that. If you want to look at the pool story, it kind of is so much, there's so many messages in that one story. If you haven't seen it before, check it out. You can just Google BratBusters pool story. BratBusters is my company, and then pool story. I've got lots of videos on it. And it kind of explains the psychology behind it all. I don't take any crap. I deal with bad behavior, but then I focus on the good kid, and that's how you get good back. So I put my focus into the good kid, but I don't take any crap. But the discipline is a tiny part. Everyone wants to discuss the bad behavior. That's shaming, blaming, bullying. I can't stand that. You don't discuss it. Just deal with it. They understand. But yeah, parents really want to, I think parents think that kids act out because they don't understand. It has nothing to do with it. Nothing. You understand you should never speed. Do you sometimes speed when you're driving? Why would you if you understand you shouldn't? You see, it's never understanding. It's a lack of control, or just a little bit of that rebel, or just carelessness. You see, it's never a lack of understanding. And the same is with kids. They know from a very young age that hitting is bad. You don't have to explain it to them. They just know that. Oh, this is good. Okay. I thought you were going to go the other way, and I'll explain it. This is Brittany McKenna. My boys, 4, 5, and 6, boy, you had a busy first couple of years there, are starting to enjoy the consequences, example, unpacking dishwasher, etc. So good to see this tool working both in creating helpers in the house and getting them to think about their actions and consequences. Now, consequences, they don't have to hate them. A consequence is just a good deed. So if they do something bad, you get them to do something good. But if they won't do it, then you take something away. You taking something away is the last thing I do. It's not where I start. Can you tell us some of your most interesting punishment for parents? Yeah, one of my favorites, and I always get permission for these stories, but then others are just generic, so it doesn't matter. This one was very specific. It was a mom. She had a teenage boy, I think. I can't remember exactly. I think it was a boy. And they were at war. He was 16. They had a lot of money. They bought him a big fancy car. And they for 16th birthday, but he didn't have his license yet. And the dad was busy working. And so the mom, every night after dinner, they went out for a driving lesson, the 16-year-old and the mom, and they were at war. The mom was nagging him. They were screaming at each other. It was awful. So I said her rule was she is not allowed to speak during driving lessons unless it's an emergency, like look out for that stroll, the mom in a stroller, what type of thing. So that was it. So what she decided to do was she thought and she goes, I can't do that. We had a bit of a back and forth. She didn't do it right away because she thought I can't do that. So, but anyway, things got worse between her and her son. So she agreed to do it. Anyway, she ended up putting painter's tape on her mouth just for her own, to remind herself she couldn't speak. So she put this painter's tape on her mouth. He didn't see it because they never looked at each other, even they hated each other. So they're getting in the car. As she opened up the car door, she saw the painter's tape on her mouth and started to laugh. And it blew off and started to go like that when she was laughing. He looked over, saw that, and they both cracked up. And it was the start of this really, much better relationship. That was one of my favorites. I've got some real funny ones. Oh, another one is, this one works really well with teenage girls. One of the dad's rule was that he couldn't bring his phone to the dinner table. That was his rule. And the consequence was that if he did, then that night, his teenage daughter got to give him a makeover, and they had to go to the corner store with him made up, with makeup on. So that was another funny one. Your consequence is always something fun for the kids. It's connecting, bonding, having fun with them. One of the moms said to me she had actually changed her consequence, and she had changed it to, I can't have a glass of wine after dinner. Why would the kids care about that? She thought that was better because it hurt her more. And I said, no, that's not. So I said, don't change the behavior board when you're working with me, right? I said, don't change it. Unless I say, there's certain things you might fudge. And I said, but yeah, don't change that. It was so funny. Okay, very good question and a very simple answer. As Rachel, do you do you provide consequences for attitude? Absolutely not. Their bad attitude is a result of your lack of leadership. It's a tell. It means they don't respect you. You got to earn it. So yeah, it's just a sign that you got some work to do on you, not them. You can't address attitude. Let's say, what's a good example of that? I know a really good example for it, but it sounds too insulting. I don't want to be insulting about this, but like you're expecting the results without putting in the work. Like you can't expect them to respect you without being respected. You see what I mean? You got to work on yourself. Okay, I'm going to read out. Oh no, I don't. Shoot, I got to go. I got to go over to Instagram because I've got stuff to do tonight. So I'm going to go over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, check out my website, or if you want to go over there, it's on Instagram, BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and our podcast. The podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and it's on all the platforms, but we also save it on YouTube if you're interested in watching us. It's my daughter and I. We work together and we do the podcast together. Anyway, sorry, but I have to go over to Instagram now. And I'm on YouTube the whole time, which is where I save all of my lives. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. Sorry, YouTube, this takes a second to... Oh, someone just asked something. Sorry. The only time I ever go on my platforms is when I'm doing a live. And someone just said, have you got a teen course coming up? And yeah, I'm hoping to do the teen course, the boot camp course for teenagers this year, hoping to. The thing is, I'm stretched. I can't be stretched too thin. So we have to be very careful about that because most of my time goes to coaching. So, and my coaching clients always come first, but I really want to get that teen course done. Okay. I always wonder why people take their So they'll do a comment on YouTube and then they'll take it away because it says message retracted. I always want to figure out, why did you take that away? Just the curiosity in me. Anyway, I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Oh, there's enough people here already. Okay, so welcome to my live. I'm on Instagram and I'm also on YouTube, which is where I save all of my lives. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you check out my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can look into the podcast. My daughter and I do it together. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. God, I wish I had a quicker name. And it's on all the platforms, but it's also saved on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. We've done, I think, 75 of them now. We started, I think she said we started in September or October. So it hasn't quite been a year yet. And that's why we haven't written the book. 2025 was going to be the year of the book. And then the podcast took off. So yeah, we didn't expect it to do so well. So it takes up a lot of time. Okay. I'm going to start answering your questions now to the best of my ability. And I don't answer all of them because a lot of them are repeats, and sometimes I like to throw in some other stuff because all the questions seem to be about discipline. And that's not what I'm all about at all. If you look at the pool story, you'll see what I mean by that. I deal with discipline. I don't put up with any crap at all. I deal with discipline, but then I focus on the good kid. Where you put your energy, where you put your focus is what grows. My goal is always that kids feel good about themselves when they're with me. If they feel good, they do good. If they feel bad, they do bad. When you discuss bad behavior and do all those lectures and mini therapy sessions, which is just awful, you don't discuss bad behavior. You just deal with it. They feel bad, they're going to do bad. Okay. You don't want to make your kids feel bad. Anyway, check out the pool story. If you haven't seen it already, you can just Google BratBusters pool story. It'll pop up. I got lots of videos on it. I just can't tell it again because I've told it so many times. I think my head would blow off my neck if I said it again. Okay. I'm always in a power struggle with my toddlers. What can I do to make them listen and stop yelling? What can you do? Well, I don't really get toddlers to listen. That's sort of saying that you want them to be obedient. You want toddlers who do the right thing, if that makes any sense. You want them to feel like they sort of, that's a big picture thing. I don't want to get into a big spiel about that. But yeah, I don't really want kids to listen to me. I want them to make good choices. So I lay down the rules and the boundaries, and then it's up to them to do whatever they want to do. And also, once you're a leader, they tend to calm down. But toddlers are going to do what they're going to do anyway. It takes time with them. They're in the discovery phase. And a toddler to me is 16 to 35 months. 3 and 4-year-olds are preschoolers. They're on the behavior board. They're different. But a toddler doesn't have impulse control yet. They're just starting to learn. And if they do have any, it's more of a knee-jerk reaction. It's almost like muscle memory. Like a 2-year-old will touch a hot oven 10 times, but they might not touch it the 11th. There's not a lot of thought that goes into that. It's more just, they just get used to getting hurt, so they just stop doing it. It's more like that. So you teach toddlers through consistent corrective actions. Anyway, I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers, which is 16 to 35 months, the way I deal with it. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. I got lots of videos on all that. Number 3, connect with your toddlers in their world, not your world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill. They look at you differently when you enter their world. They just do. They just feel sort of validated and they feel more connected. And they're more likely to listen to you if that's what you want. Number 4, discipline toddlers in their world. That's the same thing. So you connect with them in their world, you discipline them in their world. They are not about words, they are about actions. So you use consistent corrective actions. If they do something naughty, you can just say one word to start the ball rolling. You just say no, and then you take action. You remove them from the fun or fun from them. But you got to be consistent. They don't remember when you did it right. They remember the one time you did it wrong. So, and number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Try and figure that one out. Yeah, they're little mysteries. They're in the discovery phase. They're going to do crazy stuff. All feet, no brains. Oh, I've done it before. I delete because I did a typo. We've all done it. I know that. It's just, I'm always like, what did you delete? I always wonder if it was something juicy. Oh, you're very welcome, Handy Thinking. Handy Thinking. That's cute. I got to be careful when I read out these names because they look normal, and that one looks fine. But I read one out once, and my daughter just happened. She doesn't usually watch these lives, of course. It's boring for her. She works with me. She listens to me enough because she does all the editing, poor thing. Anyway, but yeah, I read out someone's name. It was on TikTok. And when you read it out, it was filthy rude. I didn't know it. I'm reading it out, stupid old lady. My daughter's texting me, stop saying that. It's rude. Oopsie. It's quite funny. 20-month-old granddaughter. Oh, you're asking about grandchildren? I don't discuss grandchildren because if I gave you advice and the parents didn't like it, you see what I mean? I only teach parenting. I'm very careful with that. Like I'm a grandmother and not my kid. I babysit her 1 full day a week, sometimes 2. And yeah, I'm very aware. It's a lot of memories come back. You know, when you got grandkids, you go, God, rinse and repeat. I can remember doing this with my kids. It's just wonderful. Anyway, so, but yeah, I'm very aware that I'm the grandmother and it's very different. Like I would never give the parents any advice. It's none of my business. And they don't need it. They're doing great. Okay, 4.5-year-old touches everything. I tell her daily not to touch anything that doesn't belong to her. Help, then she lies too. I would start with the lying. Use the free behavior board. It's on my website, BratBusters.com. And her rule is no lying. Just say no lying. And when she lies, you say, okay, you lied, but don't argue with her. If you know she lied, let's say, I didn't lie, I did that. And if I'm at that board and I said, okay, your rule was no lying and you lied, she starts arguing. This is me. I might stop talking for a minute and let her argue. As soon as she stopped talking, I'd go, okay, so your consequence is this. See, you're on the high road. Follow through with the high road. Don't let her drag you down to the low road. Parents do this all the time. But she said she didn't understand. That's garbage. She knows. But she's upset. She's mad. So follow through. Go to the behavior board and just follow through with it. Stay calm. There's no emotions in the behavior board and disciplining. It's like a business transaction. You stay very calm. Say, okay, so here's your consequence. I hate you. Whatever. So they'll say and do anything to pull you in. They'll say and do anything to take control. The amount of times I hear the word but whenever I say that to a client, I wish I'd be rich if I got $1 every time. Yeah, but she says this, she says that. What's your point? Like, you follow through with a leader. You're in the leadership role now. She broke a rule. You're following through with the behavior board. All she's doing is she's on the low road. She's in the crazy road. She's trying to disrupt it all. Don't allow her. Don't allow them to. You're not doing them any favor. Oh, okay. What to do when a 2-year-old keeps doing wrong things during a tantrum? You just ignore them. You have to physically restrain them. If they are getting violent, if they're hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property, you just physically restrain them for a few seconds or a minute or whatever. Then let go. If they go to start doing the bad behavior again, just grab them, but you don't talk to them or look at them. It's just physical. You're just holding them back. You're physically restraining them from being violent. So you don't do consistent corrective actions during a tantrum. You ignore a tantrum. A tantrum is not big emotions or feelings. A tantrum is a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. It's anger-based. So now this is a question that comes up a lot. You've got Amanda on YouTube. What do you do if a relative doesn't follow your rules? They are undermining you. I can't tell you how to manage an adult. That's not what I do. Okay, the only thing I would ever say to an adult who is interfering in my parenting is this, or I wouldn't. I know what I'd say, but I'm not going to tell you that. But anyway, what I recommend people do is they say to that person, when you undermine my parenting, it hurts my feelings. So you lead with your feelings. Now it's up to them whether they continue. In other words, they're admitting to hurting your feelings. They'll say, but my intentions are that and go, you're still hurting my feelings. Like that. And then that's all you can do. What else can you do? Those are difficult people. And if they're not someone that you can detox and get rid of in your life, if they're family and someone that you have to see, it's tricky. Yeah, I don't have to see anyone I don't want to see at this age. Yeah, I get rid of them all. They're just difficult people. If they don't respect your feelings, I would get rid of them. But you can't do that with family, right? Not if it's someone you're close to. It's tricky. What to do when consistent corrective action starts a tantrum? You ignore the tantrum. You know, everyone wants to avoid the scene and the fit, the meltdown, but those are the lessons. The fit scenes, meltdowns, and tantrums are the lessons. That's them getting mad that they didn't get their own way. But if you try and avoid that by trying to soften things then they're learning that, wait a minute, I'm in charge. They just do. Follow through with what you know is right and let them process it. Their anger is their business. It's not your business. They'll learn it doesn't work. And they'll just stop doing it eventually because it doesn't work. And don't be afraid of a tantrum. It's like that kid that 8-year-old boy, I was asked to work with him. I'd heard of him. He was a handful. And they said, would you be willing to just do one session with him? And I said, sure. Okay. So I sat down. He'd never met me before. And he looks at me and he goes, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. And he never did. You could see him instantly. I could see it. He went, oh, she knows what she's doing. And he just calmed right down. He was great with me. There was no point. I wouldn't have cared if he had a fit. He knew that too, though. He knew that. He could tell, I don't care if you have a fit. None of my business. That is not your business. That is them processing, not getting what they want, when they want, and how they want it. The sooner they learn that, the better. You don't want a 10-year-old who has that same tantrum thing going on. Oh, consequences for whining. I don't put whining. Whining is an attitude. It's different. It's not a behavior. It's a habit. So yeah, I don't put that on a board. I don't use consequences with that. This is a 3.5-year-old that's whining. And then if you ignore it, yeah, that's going to turn into anger, which I don't mind them getting angry anyway. But what I would say is I'd say when you talk like this, you know, mimic them a little bit, but don't go on about it. When you talk like that, it's called whining. And if you do that from now on, I will be ignoring you every time you whine. But if you talk nicely, I will answer you, but the answer may still be no. Also, you may not know that you're whining because it becomes a habit. It's an affectation like vocal fry. You know, it's like that. And they don't even know they're doing it half the time. It's an affectation. So it's not bad behavior. So you just say, you may not even be aware you're doing it. So every time you whine, I will not talk to you, but I will touch my nose or pull my ear. That will be the sign that you are whining and you will now be ignored. That works really well with a lot of parents, I've heard. But they have to be 3 and over. I don't have any advice for step parents because I don't know your situation. Do you have full custody with the parent? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know your situation. Too many variables. Okay. Well, you said my 3-year-old says I don't want to. What can this be addressed? So what do you do with that? He just doesn't respect you. So you have to have rules and consequences on the behavior board. It's teaching you how to start exercising your leadership skills. So you can't address, you're talking about the big picture. How do I get him to